this video is the most crystal clear example that Zelensky did know, still does know, that the whole idea of this war is at the cost of Ukrainian statehood and the Ukrainian people. Take a listen. Everyone has varied interests. There are those in the West who simply don't mind a long war because it would mean exhausting Russia, even if this means the demise of Ukraine and comes at the cost of Ukrainian lives. This is definitely in the interests of some countries. Ukraine is really screwed right now. If you look at the battlefield, I mean, there's really only three cities left in the Donbass that are still under Ukrainian control, one of which has active Russian fighting taking place in as we speak. That is Konstantinovka. About 15%, 16% of Ukrainian control remains in the Donbass. They're losing whatever leverage that they had back in January when Trump could have made this deal. Any leverage that they had back then, they have effectively lost, with the exception of Konstantinovka, Slavyansk, and Kramatorsk. Given that, you begin to wonder, like, what is the end goal here? If you're losing all your leverage and you're okay with that and you recognize this is what's happening. Well, Glenn Deason, our friend Glenn Deason, he pulled up this interesting video that I had never seen before. I don't know if you guys have seen this video before, but it's a video from Zelensky in March of 2022 admitting that this was the plan all along. Now, obviously, there's like these old clips of him saying that this is, you know, NATO, we're going to join NATO as America's henchmen and whatnot. But this video is like the most crystal clear example that Zelensky did know, still does know, that the whole idea of this war is to exhaust Russia, but also at the cost of Ukrainian statehood and the Ukrainian people. And he said this in March 2022, right after the war began. Take a listen. Everyone has varied interests, he says. There are those in the West who simply don't mind a long war because it would mean exhausting Russia, even if this means the demise of Ukraine and comes at the cost of Ukrainian lives. This is definitely in the interests of some countries. What countries would those be? The United Kingdom, perhaps? Germany, maybe? The United States? I mean, let's look at it right now. The Russians are advancing in all directions. Battlefield losses right now, as per General Apti Aloydinov, the Chechen general and hero of the Russian Federation. In an interview he did this week, he said losses in the Donbass right now about 3-1, which is not even like that. That's pretty high losses for Russia, even still, in the context of what the losses have looked like throughout the entirety of this war. Because as you know, Ukraine has had well over 1 million men who've either been injured to the point where they can no longer fight, they've deserted, or they have been KIA. As for the Russians, 100, 200,000, I don't know, probably in there as far as KIA. So that 3-1 is not even that great for the Russians, I guess. And still, you have exactly what's happening here. You have the demise of Ukraine at the cost of the Ukrainian people and Ukrainian lives. Okay, and they are losing everything that they could potentially negotiate. What Zelensky did say was that this is an effort to exhaust Russia and bring the demise of the Russian state. And obviously that has failed. There's been no success in that. Even the weakest links in the quote-unquote multipolar world that the U.S. tried to target to split from Russia, like India, for example, has failed. Russian oil exports to India grow despite Western sanctions. Imports in October reportedly came in at 1.48 million barrels per day, according to data from the oil tracking companies cited by the outlet. Now, this was the big goal of Trump. Trump said, we're going to place these hard sanctions on anyone that's doing business with Lukoil, with Rosneft, the major giants of Russian oil and gas. And what does India do? They say, well, we'll just increase the oil shipments. We'll use shadow fleets. We will increase coal shipments. We will increase LNG shipments. It backfired. Again, China, nearly 100% of all Russia-China trade, which has increased exponentially since the start of the conflict, is now outside of Western currencies. They are de-dollarizing. They are increasing trade amongst BRICS partners countries and BRICS countries. They are refusing to even acknowledge the Western sanctions because they're so meaningless at this point. So what have we actually witnessed over the past several years? As Zelensky said, all of this came at the cost of the Ukrainian state and Ukrainian civilian lives. And what has come of it? Russia got the territory they were seeking. Russia got economically stronger. Militarily, it's questionable as to whether or not there is a more competent, more battle-hardened and tested military and stronger military on the planet than them. As for the investments in Russian defense technologies, I mean, I'm not talking about just monetary investment. I'm talking about human capital investment. Look at the Budavestnik missile. There is no missile on the planet that has the capabilities of that. No missile. No country has anything like that. And it's terrifying. Destroys the whole Western game plan. Destroys the whole game plan of the United States, because the whole game plan of the United States is we can strike anyone, anywhere in the world at any moment, and no one can do a thing about it. Because if Russia wants to strike us, they have to fly strategic bombers near our coast. If Russia wants to strike us, they have to do that. Well, turns out that Russia actually doesn't have to do that anymore, because they can fire off a Budavestnik and it goes flying, can stay in the air for months. Months it can fly in the air anywhere in the world. It can avoid every single air defense system, flying for months. And no one's going to know, because it is not detectable on radar. It has a small nuclear-powered engine, and it can be fired at a given target at a moment's notice by activation code in Moscow. Poseidon, Orezhnik, and this Budavestnik. So Russia, really, I mean, like, their economy's fine. People are pretty chill, strong culturally. Their economic situation is only improving. Europe has been crushed economically and culturally in the midst of all of this. So, Zelensky's half right. The West did aim to sacrifice the Ukrainian state and Ukrainian lives, but they failed with their end goal, which is to balkanize Russia, regime change Russia, cripple Russia, bring Russia to its knees. They have entirely failed in that regard. Before you leave, I want to say thank you for the support, because after 2 years of being banned, we are finally back home on YouTube. So be sure to subscribe to our channel and also join as a member on our channel using the link at the top of the description. I rely on the generous support of viewers like yourself to get the truth out to as many people as possible. You can also support the show on Locals or Give Sin Go. The mainstream media and the powers that be are never going to stop attacking us for bringing the truth to as many people as we do. Thank you so much for your support.